Hello and welcome to the Twilight Imperium Junkies podcast. This is Rand, and today we are talking about July's Patreon poll winner topic, when to betray in TI. And I have with me here today a guest junkie, Mr. Betray himself. Welcome, Nathan.
That is true. I always betray myself. Mostly it's pregame.
Definitely always betray yourself and sometimes betray others along the way, if it's convenient.
If there's time.
So, betraying is really controversial in TI. There are players who almost never do it, and there are players who are notorious for doing it, present company included. So let's talk today a little bit about why we do betrayals, when some key moments betrayal might actually be a good strategy, and when it might be totally hosing yourself. I have some thoughts on when I would certainly betray, but I want to hear from you, Nathan. Do you have anything that comes to mind when you think, who am I going to betray?
It's never about who I'm going to betray. I feel like everybody has an equal opportunity to get betrayed in my game.
It's a democracy of betrayal.
Yeah, it really is. It really not trying to single anybody out. Just like, oh, you're in my game again? Oh, I got to betray you just to keep on theme. No, I'm not really thinking in those terms. I'm mostly thinking in terms of, do I betray early game and then hope it doesn't bite me later? Or do I betray somewhere in the middle, hopefully maybe? It'll give me some good value. Or do I wait so long that the betrayal just has no value?
Right. That is a fine line, because a super early betrayal can easily lead to, if you betray too hard, too fast, a very angry neighbor, very angry player, a revenge lady, for instance, maybe it was Rand and you betrayed on Mechatol way too early, for example, just, casual example. That could be horrible for your game. So I totally see your point of when to betray. Do you find you have figured out a good strategy for sussing out that timing?
I think it's got to at least be ideally a 3-point move. So I want to score a secret. I want to score maybe an action phase. And a one-pointer, a one-stage public objective, or a twofer and a secret, or some kind of Imperial point combination. I think I'm getting to the point where at least 3 points makes the betrayal worth it. Either that or a guaranteed win.
That's a really good baseline. If someone came to me and offered me, hey, I'll give you 3 points for one betray, I'd be like, yes. Sign me up for future coupons as well. I'm very interested.
Take note of it. Make sure everybody knows it.
So betraying for points makes sense. I think in the case of any betrayal, something we have to keep in mind always is leverage. Because ultimately, even if you do get 3 points off a betrayal, if they happen to have a giant fleet next to your home system and you had to kind of empty some ships out to do so or whatnot, maybe it's a little less straightforward than that. I guess we'd agree that no matter what, each betrayal is a case-by-case basis, and we're kind of just trying to touch on some general notions on when betrayal might come into play.
Yeah, it's definitely not like, oh man, I got to set my betrayal up for round 3, second strategy card getting popped. Now's the time, like from the jump.
I'm going to get 2 betrayals in this game. For me, I have a few moments in which I think betrayal is absolutely called for, or at least I will partake in the betrayal in these moments. And a big one in late game is the strategy phase. And if Speaker was sold, honoring first pick, which a lot of people do and some people don't. And I've been on both ends of this kind of hose. Even in last year's Stooge tournament game, actually, I had given a player a chance to compete in the game in exchange for not QD-ending me, and they betrayed that. Personally, I think they betrayed for the sake of betraying, which was not ultimately in their best interest. So we can circle back to betraying for the sake of betraying. But my point is the strategy phase and honoring a first pick deal that significantly will hinder your game and scoring tempo and almost pretty much takes you out of it, I think there's no point in doing that.
I don't think anybody would believe you if you said, hey, I'm going to make a deal with you to give you first pick if you do this for me so late in the game. and then you turn around and betray them? Like, won't they see that? Won't that be obvious?
I mean, I think to you, paranoid Nathan, it might be obvious and expected. I think there's such a wide assortment of players and people who expect certain, metas or play styles or, take deals more seriously than others. I think they might be surprised by this kind of betrayal. But I'm glad to hear you would expect it as I would, especially in certain times where, sometimes selling the speaker back in that case is either your only option or for some reason better for your game. So the person who sold speaker doesn't really have that much leverage anyway. They kind of like are selling you speaker because they have to, not because they want to trade goods, right? If it really is because they want to trade goods, then I guess they deserve the betray. I'm taking Imperial.
Yeah, I was actually talking with my friend, my stooge Patrick, about this yesterday.
There's also one other speaker betrayal that it's a very, very rare situation, but I feel like it happens, and it's happened to me a handful of times, where you sell someone speaker, like I'm the person selling speaker, and then when I look at the agendas, public execution is on top, the one that moves the speaker token over. And I really believe in topping that, where I've once done it and the person who I sold speaker to thought I betrayed them.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, but why? I sold speaker and then I drew 2 agendas after that. And then it was just a great value to move the speaker token back over. And I could see the other point of it of, well, definitely betraying the spirit of the deal. The spirit is you are the speaker and I'm getting first pick and you're getting second pick, so you kind of like swipe the second pick away from them or whatnot. But that's always fun.
I absolutely believe that is a betrayal.
You do.
I've been on the receiving end of that betrayal, and it does not feel good.
Why does that betrayal happen so often? It's one agenda in the whole deck, and somehow.
But it's like almost every time. I think that's what it is, because if we see that agenda, if we see it, you can almost guarantee that betrayal is going to happen. And it's like, oh, you're trying to sell me,
I don't know.
Empty peppermints. Like, all right.
I think I've also played with people who've announced that they drew that agenda, but they're bottoming it for good relations, which is also a good strategy, to make someone think you did them a huge favor when you could have really betrayed.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, if you believe them, like, if somebody said they did that.
It's like just bottom any card and say it's public execution every time. And Nalu's in the game. They look at the bottom agenda. They're like, okay.
Yeah, you really gotta sell that lie. You gotta hope Nalu's not in the game.
Well, since we're talking about agendas, I think another time I think betrayal it's just like such a ripe opportunity for betrayal is Mutiny. Because I feel like in that agenda, people later in voting have the power to screw over those voting early and take a point away from them. And I think with that agenda, there's so often a mindset of like, oh, we're going to vote for, so we all get points. Which is fun, for dopamine. Everyone gets a point, yay, but not necessarily the best math for every individual in terms of how to win the game tempo-wise. So I feel like when you're voting later, or if you're speaker, you have the power to even pretend that, yes, we're going to do this. And then once it gets to, oh, hey, person to my right, together we can tank this, we probably should, because, the leaders are getting the point too.
The leaders are getting the points. You might be in last or second to last, and you're like, yeah, I really want these points, but I can't let these Jolnar turtle boys blast off to 5 and 6. Oh, I hate that. I hate giving the good factions extra points, even if I'm going to get one.
Right. Really closing the gap is actually better for your tempo than everyone taking one step up.
Yeah.
Depending on the scores, of course. But, generally, I do see situations in which I think people can sway Mutiny to go against, and it would be better for their tempo. But they don't, because we all like points or want a fast game for some reason, but this is TI, so...
Yeah, you're going to be there for 5 hours minimum.
As Nathan would say, we're here for checkers.
I'm here for lunch.
So I think there's also another way to cheese Mutiny, in which you pretend you're going to vote against as the people in last, so the people in first who are voting first don't vote. And then at some point you go, all right, I'm voting for, if you can sway the math. what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of mind games with Mutiny, and I don't see them played enough, and I want to. So Nathan, let's be the change we want to see in the world.
Let's be the change Rand wants to see in the world.
Yeah,
I personally would be fine.
I want to see mutiny. I want to see mutiny happen. Betrayal for days.
Yeah, I would be perfectly fine taking that card out of the deck altogether. I don't like free points because I feel like the math, well, not even the math, but it's just like I'm just never in those good positions to capitalize on. Like, oh, you know what? I'm going to see Mutiny in the Ascent game where I'm playing Argent Flight, and I got to vote first. Okay.
Yeah, that's rough.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you, TI gods. Thank you. Yin Brotherhood.
Yeah, Argent with Mutiny is always rough. But see, if it bothers you so much, then maybe in future games, if you do the math a little, if you're later in voting, you can see who you need to talk to do a mega hose. And maybe you can orchestrate. Maybe. I'm waiting for it. I want to be inspired by you, Nathan.
I have one betrayal play I really want to try, and I'm letting the listeners know now in case you're in a game with me. And I'm playing Hacan, and trade gets popped, and I gotta be the person who's facilitating the debt transfer, right? I want to take all of the money in the first round and then just keep it.
I need to see that. Even if I am in that game, I will participate. Even if I'm the trade holder in that game.
I need you to tell everybody, just everybody give Nathan the money, and then he's going to give it all to me on his turn. And then it's just going to be salty dogs.
And then on your turn, you activate your home system and build. You spend it all in one place.
Wasn't binding, non-binding deal.
So good. I mean, yeah, when we think of betrayal, non-binding is definitely the place to go, because you literally can't betray a binding deal, and non-binding that's the point of them existing, is that you can change your mind at any point.
And sometimes you have to. Let's talk about that for a sec. When the situations change, like a public objective gets revealed, and you're like, well, I know I said this, but now circumstances are a little different, and I think I might want to take this thing that we already agreed to, but
how do you feel about that kind of interaction?
I mean, that's usually my betrayal interactions. I think almost 90% of my betrayal interactions are the situation has changed dramatically where I can score like a point in a secret, so I've got to take it. And I don't feel like I'm hurting them too bad because I feel like they're also set up to score, if not the point they wanted to, a different point. Like, you're still getting your point, and I don't think they should be that salty about it, but turns out I think that might be the thing that makes them the most salty.
Yeah, if they're not getting their point, I would totally understand the salt, but I totally see that. And I agree. I mean, ultimately, we're all here to play our best game. And sometimes like you said, you make a deal and that seems to be the best game. And then the new information changes it. And as TI players, we all ought to respect that everyone's trying to play their best game, even if they don't have the best logic, even if they don't have the best diplomatic relations, whatever it may be. This is the race to 10, the race to 14, whatever it may be. And we're all a part of it.
And I never have the best relations.
Yeah, you have an advantage in betrayal because you already are starting off with negative relations. So just might as well.
I mean, it can only go up. Once I show one little bit of shred of kindness, they're like, "Oh, this guy's great."
Yeah, we love him. Let him hold all our money. He'll surely give it back.
God, I can't wait to do that. That's going to be great. I need to play Hacan. I need to. 14-pointer total war.
I've actually thought about another faction-specific betrayal like that.
Oh, tell us.
It's similar where there's trust in another player, and it's Spynet for Yssaril. When you give your promissory note so someone else can grab an action card, technically they can grab whatever action card they want at that point. So if you're selling them a flank speed and they play Spynet, they could be like, actually, I want this unexpected action, and they can take it. That's a huge punch in the gut for Yssaril, and I think a reason I try not to sell Spynet so much as Yssaril, but I wish I could, because it would be fun to more freely pass around action cards.
That actually brings up my fear. Let's say that, for instance, you're Yssaril, right? And you sell somebody, you make a deal to sell somebody a specific action card. You show it to them, You're like, look, I've got it. I want to sell it to you. You're going to need it, right? And then they buy it. And then when it's their time to use it, you're also sitting on a sabotage.
So that's good. So you're going to extort them for that sabotage too?
They didn't bother to look at the rest of your hand.
Yeah. Which the information is also key, because looking at the rest of the hand kind of opens up. Well, the first level of betrayal and the worst one is taking a card. That's not the agreed upon card. But then there's the information they get, which is maybe Yssaril's trying to do something with their neighbor unrelated, and then that player's like, oh wait, I know they have Scuttle. I know they have whatever. They're going to be qualifying for the 2-pointer. And in that moment, it's like, do you betray Yssaril's confidence and intervene?
To keep the game alive?
Yeah, to keep the game alive.
And then the deal?
Exactly. Or is it, well, you technically almost would not have known that information. You only knew it because you really needed that skilled retreat for whatever, you know? What would you do in that kind of situation?
I tell you what I would do. I'll tell you what I would do, and then I'll tell you what I'd like to do. So what I would do is they would try to sell me a very specific action card out of their hand with Spynet. And I would take it without even looking at the rest of their hand, because I don't know how Spynet works. And then they would hit me, and then when I attempted to use that action card for something that was pre-negotiated, they hit me with the sabotage. They knew they were selling me something.
That's a dirty Yssaril player. That's wild.
And that is a move I want to try. So I've added it to my betrayal list.
Yeah. I guess there's a certain level of confidentiality or information keeping that can also be used as leverage or can be a weapon in betrayal and TI. For example, secrets. I've played in games where people are like, yes, show me your secret. Okay, they're not scoreable. I'm not telling the rest of the table, yada, yada, yada. It was showed in confidence, even if it wasn't actually said that it was showed in confidence.
I mean, it's kind of implied, right?
Maybe, but I don't know. If you're backed into a corner, the point is, well, if the secret ever needs to be public information to stop you, it might as well be public information now. You know? If it has to not be scored, then what is the harm in telling the table that it's 4-mex, right?
I think there's no harm in telling the table. Well, there's no harm to the table by telling the table. I think if anything, it harms you by exposing information that was to be confidential. So now all you're doing is creating an enemy of somebody, because they definitely didn't want that info out there. Even if they know it's not scoreable, they don't want any info out there.
I agree that I also face players like this all the time. But my question here is why?
Because it's all warfare is based on deception, and everybody wants to have that level of secrecy just to keep people on their toes.
Yeah, I agree in a certain sense. I agree. I just think in a situation where I am showing you my secret, for example, because you're about to slay me and I'm telling you, don't slay me. Here's my secret. Look, I don't have 4-mex on 4 planets. I can't get it. If I do get it, I win, but I can't get it. So now you are the only person responsible for policing 4-mex. If you forget, if you get distracted, if you miss 1 mech, the game is over. So my question is, shouldn't the person showing the secret expect that it's in everyone else's best interest to just have, like, you tell the table that, like, why wouldn't you, right? Trying to challenge that, like, why keep it a secret? If you're telling one person, you may as well tell them all, right?
I mean, I think maybe you expect that, but you still don't like it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one person knowing your secret, they're more likely to derp. 5 people knowing your secret, well, all eyes are on you.
Yeah, I hate giving out that info, because then it gets out and everybody's just sitting there, calculator, table, spreadsheet, how can we stop them? I'm like, oh, this feels bad. I'm going to go get something to eat, you guys. Yeah. You let me know when you figured out how to stop me to get from 9.
Hope it's a great path to Winsley. Actually, I, as Yssaril, using the commander, at times look at people's secrets when they activate me, and if they're in the lead or something, I just say them out loud to the table. I'm like, you know, I could use this information and keep track of it and make sure I'm policing that person, or I can make it all our work, all our jobs. We all know. All right, they can destroy your greatest. Everyone, hide your flagships.
Yeah, but at that point, it's not a betrayal. I feel like at that point, it's just there was nothing expected to keep it private. There was no negotiation, not even a soft deal on the books.
Right. I would like to see more negotiation when a secret is being shown, of being explicit. Is this Are we expecting a non-binding you don't tell anyone? Or is this just, yeah, here are my cards. All right, good luck, table unit.
Yeah, maybe the listeners will now go into these negotiations with more explicit language. Now that they're hearing this, maybe they've dealt with these situations before. They're just like, you know what? Now that we're here in the podcast, now that we're Patreon subscribers, we need to start explicitly saying, hey, we don't want this information shared.
Yeah, less assumptions, more explicitness. Make Mama Rand and Papa Nathan proud. Make your betrayals more deliberate and make no assumptions that others won't betray you at any moment.
I'm really looking forward to trying some of these new betrayals I got on the books. I don't know if they've been. Let us know in the comments if you've done any of these betrayals before.
Yes, how'd they work out for you? Do you have regrets? Would you do them again? And if you have your own unique betrayals that you've been a part of or received, we always love these fun stories. So please do share them with us in the comments, on the Discord, wherever. These are some big betrayals we're talking about, right? Strategy cards, points, 3-point swings, whatever. And even, I imagine you would also agree with the betraying for the win you mentioned. So gambits, do you betray them? If it's like, I do this, if you win, you win. If you don't, I do this, so you win. Is that something you betray or not? Maybe, maybe not. People have different points. But I think something else we could talk about are baby betrays. You know? When, like, for example, you don't have a firm deal in place and you use that little bit of wiggle room to push back against something they didn't totally commit to. Or if you have a debt with someone and you spend your money to, like, get that build a little more optimized instead of paying them back this round. Oh, I'll get you next round. And then maybe even you're poor all game and never really get that debt paid. So, small, or maybe we can have a planned exchange, but not really committing, and then, doubling down on not doing that. These kind of baby betrays. How do you feel about those? Do any come to mind? Do you partake?
Yes. So there are two I think the most common baby betrays that I run into every game. It's the first one. Somebody grabs trade round one, nobody's neighbors, and they get debt tokens. But maybe there's a Jolnar or a Nazroka or a Titans in the game who researches Grab Drive and gets to Mechatol round one. So we're going to have an agenda. Pay me the agenda faith. Sure, no problem, buddy. And then you end up spending all your trade goods so you can research a tech. And you're like, oh, I'll get you when I got them. I promise. This is just, I think if you're playing with debt, you have to automatically assume that it's not binding.
Yeah.
I think people have forgotten that.
Yeah.
I think everybody has forgotten that, and I want them to remember.
Remember, debt is just that. No money.
It's not spendable. It's not transferable. I've never seen anybody buy debt in this game. What a lousy investment. And then the second one, it's like, hey, I'll score this round if you can score it next round. And so they let you sit in an empty or an anomaly, or have more planets than two of your neighbors, right? But maybe for some reason they had all intentions of scoring it, but they derped and they didn't count, or they didn't account for Mirage. Suddenly comes into play, and I can't score it this round, so now I have to hold on to it to score it next round.
And then you think in that instance a betrayal is warranted, that even though you said they could have that empty, that you would hold it down?
Yeah, I think at that point you kind of have to, because you're just giving up ground so somebody else can score a point that you weren't able to score. And now you're sitting there with no points scored.
So with this logic, you would say, be cautious of making deals with people who derp.
Yes, and if you're going to go into this deal, help them. Help them make sure that they score so that they're more willing to give up whatever space or whatever planet or whatever strat card they need. So it's almost guaranteed that because I feel like they're going to be more likely to honor they're less likely to betray you if you can help them out just a smidge.
That's actually some solid advice there, really, because it is helping you out in that, okay, they won't derp and risk betraying you, which we never know, right, when we're playing with people who we aren't playing with often, if they're going to betray, if they're not, or if they're wild cards. And some days they're like, today I'm a betrayer and today I'm not,
Oh, yeah.
We can limit the liability if we help them get what they were trying to get out of the deal.
And it doesn't have to be too much. It could be a Titans agent pool. It could be, hey, a one pop of my alliance to make sure you have a good ship that's going to win this combat.
Yeah. Yeah.
They haven't got a completely stooge for them, but can mini stooge.
It is, but hey, in the previous podcast, Stooge Master Kyle has said, stooge for him hard, then when you backstab him, they'll forgive you. Yeah, these are some good baby betrays, although I would say that going back on a point trait deal might be a little more than a baby betray. That might be like a medium ground betray. I think once the points are involved, it stops being a baby betray.
That's interesting. I feel like yes, that's true, but because it's so early, it's so turn one-ish type things that these common baby betrays happen. The fact that it's early game is what makes it baby for me.
So this is a situation where early game, maybe baby betrays are the way to go, and big betrays are big no-no in early game. Is that maybe a strategy we might adopt thinking about when we betray as players?
I think so. I think a mid-game betray just keeps you from getting refreshed for the rest of the game, and you really need those trade goods going into the last round.
Yeah, that's always added to your math. You're never gonna get refreshed by the person you betray.
Sorry, Patrick.
Patrick, you'll betray Patrick over and over again, and Patrick will always come back for more.
No. He's learned his lesson. He's got the subscription.
He's growing. He's growing. That's old TI Junkie Patrick. Now we got Patrick 2.0.
2.0 Patrick. Oh my God, he's got plenty of biscuits and gravy. He's coming into the game ultra focused and ready to hurt people.
Here's an interesting thought about when to betray. So I think if you have a deal in place and that person, which this kind of plays into you and Patrick's situation, kind of, if that person mega hoses you in a totally unrelated way to like what the deal is, and like maybe they tank my game almost or point block me or something, personally, I would feel no obligation to honor anything we'd worked out before. And that's the revenge lady in me. How do you feel about this kind of situation?
I feel the same way. I think saying, oh, well, it technically wasn't a part of the deal. You didn't say I couldn't take your home system. is not acceptable. That's going to avoid any deal on the board.
I think maybe the average player would expect that would happen.
Oh, man, because I've done that as Yin. I pop their hero, and it's like, oh, well, you didn't say I couldn't take this system and take your space dock out. It's like, that was the whole point. I needed, as L1Z1, to take one more space dock, and I would score.
Yeah. We got to remember, everyone's in it to score. And I think really like the one takeaway from like this discussion for me so far is we might be better players if we don't expect non-bindings to be followed through as just like a given. And that might help us give more reason for the person we are dealing with to actually follow through on this deal. Like what you said earlier of helping them get their point, or making sure you don't heavily hose them in a different way that'll just sour your relations overall and make them not follow through on something you'd worked out. Stuff like that. I think just assuming the non-binding isn't going to happen will help us not take it for granted and help us work harder to actually make it go through.
I think you're right. I 100% agree. Because I'll tell you, recently, I feel like I've been getting betrayed more often because they expect I'm going to betray them. Have we talked about this dynamic yet?
No, let's talk about it. Tell us about your qualms as a notorious betrayer.
Well, as a notorious betrayer for very explicit purposes, and for definitely not for no reason, I feel like I have been getting betrayed, or not even like hard betrayed, but like soft betrayed, that just kind of like a little soft betrayal here, a little soft betrayal there. Before I know it, I've got 3 ships on board and no planets. And I'm like, well, everybody's got a flagship and 4 dreads, and I'm getting the Malache crunch put on me. They're like, I'm trying to be amicable. I'm trying not to see red and just throw it all at the wall. And I think that comes from they think I'm going to betray them at some point. It's like, look at the evidence. I haven't betrayed you yet, and I'm in no position to betray you, even though I probably should to help my game. But I know in the end it'll hurt my reputation.
All right, Nathan, tell me, what's the worst betrayal you could experience at a TI table?
So betrayal for lunch. when they're passing the phone around and we're all placing our lunch orders, and then the person whose phone it is goes back through and replaces what you wanted for lunch with like a banh mi or something spicy. Oh, they just got the order wrong. Oh, I'm so sorry. And then you're stuck eating a lunch with a bunch of spicy lettuce when what you wanted was a hamburger, you know? Oh yes. Hey, we're gonna order lunch in 10 minutes. All right, I can power through. I can power through. I won't go back for any old eggs or kind of warm strawberries. Ugh, disgusting. Somebody's stalling for 4 hours, and oh my God, I'm starving.
That is the worst betrayal.
The worst betrayal. You say lunch is in 10, or if we're ordering in 10, you better be in 10.
Better be in 10. Everyone's stomachs are anticipating this deal, this non-binding deal. That's why you have to get them to order immediately, so it's binding.
And you guys better decide on what you want now. Start the clock. Decide on it now, not last minute. Oh, do you want to get Indian? Oh, do you want to get yes, I do. Chicken tikka masala, garlic naan. Thank you.
Sounds good.
This episode brought to you by.
Yeah, brought to you by Chicken Tikka Masala. Well, we've talked about some fun moments and fun examples of betrayals, baby betrayals, when to betray, who not to betray. Don't betray people who have leverage over your home system, and so forth. We've been lucky to experience tons of fun betrayal in our TI Junkies history. It's an iconic part of our show. Betrayal, the relations, the good relations, the bad relations.
Mostly the bad relations.
Yeah. And it's actually kind of fun when you have a play group like ours that plays over a long period of time where the social element kind of builds upon itself,
Oh,
It's one thing if you betrayed Patrick once and that was it, but it's another when you betray Patrick over and over again and we're just watching it happen.
Oh, man. And I think the betrayal, can we call that a betrayal? I was going to say, your move to Schmeckatal, everybody knows it's coming. Why aren't they betraying you? Why is somebody promising to pop tech so you can get grab drive to get to Meccatal? What's going on, folks? Hit that betrayal button. Hit it now. Hit it 5 times. Really make sure it clicks.
No. They don't want to face the revenge lady. They know what's good for them. Remember, having a read on how people will respond to your betrayal is important. Rand, revenge lady. Meccatal, she loves it. Yeah, so bottom line is, really situational, of course, when to betray. Maybe do it more and see what happens. What do you got to lose? I think ultimately each player has to test out the waters of how much, how little, and how far to go with betraying. And I think, being more open to betraying and when betrayal opportunities happen makes you a better reactor or receiver of betrayal, or even makes you better equipped to prevent it from happening to you, because you might see opportunities where others will betray you once you've trained that eye.
That's interesting. So all you first-time betrayers out there looking to dip your toes into the betray waters, just do it. Even if you're not sure it's the most optimal betrayal, you got to get your feet wet. You got to get some experience betraying.
Yeah. See how it feels. See where it makes sense, and then start to know and start to notice when it makes sense for other players to betray you and take precaution.
And if you feel like it makes you just a super scummy person inside and you just really don't like it, be sure to sit at my table so I know that you're not going to betray me.
Yeah. Nathan is looking for 5 people who feel that way to join a regular playgroup of weekly sessions. Well, Nathan, thank you so much for joining me in this chat about when to betray, the perfect junkie to have on for this topic. I know we could talk about it some more and talk about specifics, but really we just got to get out there, get playing, get betraying, get betrayed, and, enjoy the essence of betrayals in TI.
Blessed be the betrayal.
Blessed be. And before we wrap up, just want to announce that our next Patreon poll is up now. So vote for another topic you want to hear us talk about next month. Our options are Mentak with Rand, spiciest action cards, or musings about strategy cards. What do you want to hear next, folks?
And maybe tell us which junkie you'd like to see featured on the thing. I know people have been clamoring for Patrick.
Ooh, Yes, we need a whole interview, a journalistic deep dive into what goes on in Patrick's game. So put that in the comments. Who do you want to see on the podcast? Let us know. And thanks again for listening, and thank you again, Nathan, for all the betrayals that have made me a better player.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Twilight Imperium Junkies podcast.
If you like what we do and want to support the show, check out our Patreon, where amongst other things, you can vote on topics for future episodes.
Keep up with the TI Junkies series by subscribing on YouTube.
Until next time, keep stooging, or maybe don't.
Unless you're my stooge.